We've got a Zendaya special here on the Goggler podcast. We're going to be reviewing Euphoria Season 3, as well as the brand new movie in cinemas right now, The Drama. But before we get into that, earlier today, we were blessed with the final trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu before it hits cinemas next month. Now, Bahe, the previous trailers and TV spots have left you intrigued, but not particularly excited.
I guess that's fair.
How about this one? Because for me, this trailer felt like a Star Wars trailer.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the thoughts that crossed my mind was that this really feels like a Star Wars movie. It feels like cinema.
Yes.
Even more so for a split second, I was thinking to myself, wait, who directed this again? Do you know what I mean? Like, because it feels...
There's a bit of scope.
There's scope, there's scale, yeah. And I think that's kind of what I was missing a little bit from the earlier trailers. I'm excited for this film, but I'm also a little afraid, I guess, in some way, because this means I won't get Mando on TV anymore, right?
Yeah, not for a while. I don't even know if there's going to be another season, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what worries me.
So this is the first big screen Star Wars film since Rise of Skywalker. It's been 7 years. Rise of Skywalker was actually one of the first things that we did on Goggler when we launched, because it was released that December in 2019. Now, it's a weird thing because one wouldn't imagine that Star Wars has a big hill to climb with regards to box office. But all of the tracking, the box office, the money tracking, shows that Mando has a big hill to climb. It's not a sure thing. And I think this movie is going to have to seriously overperform with the critics to actually achieve the kind of box office success that Lucasfilm is hoping for, that Disney is hoping for. And I do think it has a bit of an uphill climb because, for the most part, the regular Star Wars movies have a mass audience. Like, even if you don't read the novels or play the RPG or whatever, the regular Star Wars movies were event movies. And so the prequels, the sequels, all of them were event movies. So my mom would go and watch it. My wife would go and watch it because, hey, there's a Star Wars movie in cinemas. It feels like a cultural event. The problem with something like Mando is that it's based on multiple seasons of television. And I think Disney has the added work of trying to educate people who've never seen that show. And so the only selling point, if you aren't a Star Wars fan, is Pedro Pascal. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, if you see his name and that is attractive to you, then you might go to the cinema and watch this movie with the strange name, like words you don't know because they're not English. Mandalorian, Grogu, what the hell is that, right?
My read of it is two. On one hand, I think it's interesting that the promo marketing push for The Mandalorian and Grogu hasn't been massive. In the run-up to any of the previous Star Wars films, that always been a big marketing push. Sure,
we're exactly 4 weeks away.
So this is normally when you cannot go to a petrol station and not see some Star Wars promotional item.
Correct.
So my read on that is maybe Disney is being cautiously optimistic with this. There isn't a massive expectation on this film. But I think that what this movie could gain is a big second week push. So you, me, my wife, maybe not so much your wife, but if we go the first week and it is a fucking fantastic film, I think the week 2 push will be great. It is the Project Hail Mary thing, where I think word of mouth is going to carry this on. But again, it's the kind of thing where like you cannot expect $1 billion from this.
Kathleen Kennedy, before she retired as well, has been incredibly gun shy about Star Wars since the failure of Rise of Skywalker. And I say failure, meaning that it still made over $1 billion in the box office, mind you, but critical failure, right? Because it's such a divisive movie. And it's never a good thing when people make fun of your film. When somehow Palpatine returned becomes a meme, right? I mean, that is never a good thing. And not a good meme, like a bad meme.
It's the new jumping the shark.
Exactly. And so she's been gun shy because she's announced so many projects since that time. And all of them have either been on the back burner or outright cancelled. And they've shifted their focus to Disney Plus. For the most part, thinking that because Star Wars is such a big franchise, it'll bolster their subscriber numbers on Disney Plus. And that's why Mandalorian was one of the first shows to launch the service. And so I think with this, because of the success of the TV show, because of the critical acclaim of the TV show, they've gone and put it in the hands of someone reliable. Like Jon Favreau hasn't made many movies, but he's a very reliable, technically proficient, workman-like filmmaker. And I think that's what they need for this to kick things off, right? And then they give it to Sean Levy next year to do Starfighter. And then maybe there may be another trilogy happening at some point. But Favreau is the safe choice.
I disagree with you in the sense that I think Favreau was the only choice, should have been the only choice. If they took it away from Favreau and gave it to whoever, the only two names I can think of that will get people excited for the Mandalorian and Grogu, other than Favreau, will probably be Denis Villeneuve and Christopher Nolan.
Who would never make Star Wars movies.
Who would never make Star Wars movies. Anybody else, I think you would get the small Mandalorian fan base who you want on site anyway would be up in arms against you. So I think Favreau was the only person they could go to.
The other thing going for it is that apparently the production budget was about 160 million, which is low for a Star Wars movie because those things top out at like 250 million reported. So God knows how much more they actually spent on it, right? And with 160 million production budget, you can break even, you can actually make bank. And I think it doesn't take a lot for it to be considered a success.
Yes. But I think the bar for success needs to be considerably lower. I think the expectation for the film has to be lower.
The financial expectation has to be lower, but I think their bar for success is actually winning back Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
But the break is a good thing, in my opinion. Like, I think they overdid it, and having 2 Star Wars movies a year was a bad idea, just like having 4 Marvel movies a year is a bad idea. And so I think the 7-year break means that there are fans like us who are genuinely excited at seeing Star Wars on the big screen again.
I also think, and this isn't new, this isn't news, they all know it now. I think the number of TV shows they released during that period was also very bad. It's the same Marvel problem, right? It's the just milking the cow and not giving the people who make your brand the kind of quality that they expect from you, which they've received from you in the past.
I mean, the new trailer looks good. I'm very excited about it. It's available on YouTube, so go check it out. Let us know your thoughts. The new trailer is actually very, very different from the teaser trailer and the pre-teaser teaser, which they released like a year ago. And so
those were all fun trailers.
Yes, and I don't think they gave you much. They just gave you cool things to look at. With this new trailer, it's interesting. There is a hint at what the story will be with regards to Mando's mission and hunting down Imperial war criminals. It seems like it ties into that bigger story, and yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
And there also looks to be a proper hero's journey for Grogu as well. There is a line about how the young take care of the old and the old take care of the young, and then they do it again and over and over. And I think it's going to be very emotional by the end of it, for sure.
I'd pay the ticket price just to watch Sigourney Weaver as a public pilot.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
In the Rebel pilot suit, I was excited. I'm like, no, let's go.
Sigourney That's Weaver. Worth the price of it.
Fly me. Yeah.
All right. You know who I hope is in it? Appa.
Oh.
From Kim's Convenience.
I don't know if he will be.
I don't know, but even if he has a cameo, I hope he's in it for his sake. Like, he's such a huge Star Wars fan. I think him being in The Mandalorian made me very, very happy for that reason. And I hope he's in this movie too.
Anyway,
Go check out the trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu. Let us know what you think. Let's get to some reviews. Let's kick things off with a steaming pile of garbage. Yes, Euphoria is back for season 3. And okay, let's just say this. Both Bahir and I were not the biggest fans of Euphoria to begin with. Like, I appreciated the aesthetic of season 1. Bahir couldn't get past a couple of episodes. I finished season 1, season 2, and the specials.
wow.
And I was just watching it because I had already invested in season 1, and I was curious about Sam Levinson because I wasn't sure yet whether he was truly the genius all of the critics were calling him after season 1, or whether they too were just caught up in the aesthetic, because I didn't get it. Like, as I was watching season 1, I could see why it would be appealing to some people, but at the end of the day, the show and the characters were so miserable, with absolutely no joy in sight, that I didn't want to watch that on television. Like, I watch a lot of stuff. It's very rare that I say something isn't for me, but this felt brutal and unforgiving and just miserable. And I just didn't like it. And I wasn't sure if that was the point, because I had seen Skins.
Right.
And Skins is an absolutely fantastic show. And Skins is very similar to Euphoria, but it's written better and performed better, and the characters have real arcs, and it doesn't just feel like an auteur shitting on his creations constantly, which is what this series feels like.
Yeah.
And you know, the reason HBO did it was very obvious, right? They did Euphoria, and they suddenly found that they had a whole new demographic watching HBO. Like, young people were tuning in. And it was unheard of, because HBO was your dad's channel. And suddenly young people were tuning into HBO. But I think young people were tuning in because it was a cool aesthetic. I don't think they were tuning in because it was the best damn writing they'd ever seen. And I think it had hot, pretty people and a cool aesthetic. And I'm not sure that's enough to sustain 2 seasons, 2 specials, and now a third. Because it just feels like too much, too much.
I mean, let's be... I don't mean to crap on it, but let's be fair. It took the guy 4 years to come up with 8 more episodes after only writing 18 episodes.
How much of it was his writing and not just a direct adaptation of the original Israeli series? That's what I'm not sure. I don't know what the original Israeli series was like.
Right.
I don't know if he made Euphoria completely his own. But also, I don't know if the 4 years had to do with him being slow at writing, or whether it was impossible to get this cast back together again.
I believe it was him not delivering scripts up to par. I think that's why they had to do the time jump. I could be wrong, but
Right.
I remember reading that was one of the causes. That was the delay, I think. Zendaya was seeing the storylines coming in for the new season and just not vibing with it. And then, of course, he went on to do The Idol, I think, which pushed everything back even more.
Another steaming pile of garbage, which I can't believe you sat through.
I sat through that, but, whatever. I think that was one of the reasons.
I remember reading about that too. I remember reading about how the cast were not happy, and so they had to do the time jump. Yeah, that was something that broke at some point over the last few years. And of course, the cast have a lot to say about it, because all of them have become the biggest stars in Hollywood at the moment. Like Zendaya was big. Zendaya had Disney Channel, Mickey Mouse Club kind of stuff already, and she was a child star, and she was already in Spider-Man, and she was on the rise.
Yes.
But Jacob Elordi, Sydney Sweeney, Hunter Schafer, heck, even Coleman Domingo were nobodies, and Euphoria kind of put them on the map. Yeah. But of course, since then, they have far outgrown Euphoria. And you watch season 3, and the first thing that comes into your head is, none of these people need to do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they really don't need it. And I wouldn't say that if they were supremely well written characters or there was real evolution and a real study on how these individuals who are obsessed with drugs and sex and how they've grown beyond their high school years and all of this stuff. But no, none of it. It just feels like more of the fucking same, only this time Sam Levinson wants to make a fucking Western. But he's not good enough to crouch this into a Western, into a modern contemporary Western.
Can I say though, I will say, at the end of the pilot episode, the 60-minute pilot episode of season 3, I did think to myself, like, I want to see episode 2. Only because I'm curious to see what happens with Rue. I think that Western storyline and what happens with Rue Bennett and what she's going through is the only thing I was interested in.
Yet again, I think that has more to do with Zendaya than anything else.
Oh, completely.
She is working with subpar material and doing the most.
She is carrying all her lines.
Yes.
In that show.
Like, for me, the coolest moment of that opening episode was the opening. I just thought that sequence was very cool in driving that car up the ramp to cross the border and then getting stuck on top of a metal wall. I thought that was a cool shot. I thought aesthetically, visually, it was very, very fun. But after that, it became that same dour, droning thing that I remember Euphoria to be.
I will say this episode makes me curious, unlike any of the episodes of the pilot season that I just kept bouncing out of.
But I don't care about anyone else. I don't care about Jacob Elordi or Sydney Sweeney.
Don't give a shit.
Right?
Like, I really don't give a shit. Like, not only do I not give a shit about these characters or their story, the only reason I'm watching is because I want to know more about Rue. I want to know what happens next. I want to see where she goes. But again, like you said, that is mostly because Zendaya is fantastic. And I want to see her play in that role, because having seen her in her film stuff, right? Spider-Man, Dune, and literally just coming out of the drama, the way she becomes Rue is capital A acting. She holds her eyes slightly lower. She stands differently. She stands like, at one point in the show, somebody calls her like a tweaker, and she holds herself like that. But then I remember watching the drama where she is this strong, beautiful, standing straight woman. And I think that acting is what makes me want to keep watching.
Yeah.
Everything else I don't give a shit about. And here's the thing. I love Sydney Sweeney. I love her in
Housemate.
Housemate is one, but also that rom-com.
Oh, Anything But You.
Anything But You. I thought she was great in Anything But You. I don't know, maybe it's Glenn Powell, because I do love me some Glenn Powell. But her storyline was just, what the fuck is this shit? Like, isn't this where I left you 7 years ago? Like, Jacob Elordi, isn't this where I left you 7 years ago? Or whatever it was? And that's what I found most surprising. And if that's the point, then Sam Levinson's not doing enough with it.
And I think that's the biggest problem, right? The dialogue feels pedestrian. The character arcs don't seem to be going anywhere. None of it feels particularly interesting or new or exciting. And you have, yet again, some of the best actors in Hollywood. Like, I say nobody needed this, but also because I think that red carpet for the Euphoria premiere must have been one of the most impressive logistical feats in Hollywood event planning, right? Because there is definitely beef going on between the actors. Like, Zendaya used to date Elordi while they were shooting, I think. And then I don't know if Zendaya gets along with Sam Levinson at the moment. Like, everyone was apparently supposed to be seated at like 7 o'clock, and so they could start the premiere. And Zendaya showed up an hour late, which is like the ultimate fucking power move.
Oof.
Yeah. And I think it was intentional. And so, I mean, she's she's got the drama, she's got Spider-Man, she's got the Odyssey, she's got Dune. She doesn't need Euphoria.
She really doesn't fucking need this show.
Exactly. And so I think it's interesting, all of the noise around the show, but also why HBO decided they actually needed a third season. Because it feels like Sam Levinson hasn't done anything to justify it. Like, the specials were all right, but I don't think they were particularly acclaimed. The weekend show was garbage and got panned. And then season 3 took so long to get made. And on top of that, I think they must have had to dish out a lot of money for all of these actors. Because I'm pretty sure if TV contracts haven't changed, then they usually sign you on for 2 seasons and then you renegotiate for the third, right? And if a renegotiation was required, then I'm sure none of these actors who are in the biggest movies in Hollywood, some of them now Oscar nominees, are probably taking the same paycheck.
HBO renewed the show in 2022. I think that's why. I think at that time...
But there is no way. Are you telling me, even 4 years ago, are you telling me that Elordi is doing it for the same salary? No chance.
Oh no, I'm sure not. Remember 2022, this was pre The Idol. So I think HBO got into bed with Sam Levinson and this cast and signed them up for a third season when there was no plans for it, which meant that they had to start writing it. They had to start thinking about it. And then, admittedly, a lot of stuff happened. There was a death in the cast. Everybody got busy, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, so I suspect what it was that HBO had locked in the cast for season 3, and by way of anything, this is just what's happened.
I don't know where this is going to end, but I'm not particularly interested. I'm just glad to see the back of it. Like, I don't think Euphoria is going to be remembered as fondly as Skins. I think Skins was quite revolutionary in British television.
Mm.
And it was the same thing, right? Skins 2, Nicholas Hoult, Dave Patel. It also created this next generation of British talent. Daniel Kaluuya, who also wrote for the show. Jack O'Connell was in Skins. Like, there were all of these great actors who were discovered in Skins and then went on to do amazing things. And I think, to give Euphoria credit, or Sam Levinson credit, a lot of the people he cast in that first season are now household names, and that's great. But this show, somebody should have just put a bullet in this show a long time ago. It's very rare that I don't enjoy something this much. You know what I mean? Like, The Idol was that.
I think it's Sam Levinson.
Yeah.
I think he's not the exciting young voice of the new generation writer that everybody thought he was going to be. I think that's it. I think he got lucky with Euphoria, because everything he's done since, not been great. Well, he hasn't even done that much since Euphoria, to be fair. And just the stuff coming out of the Idol production room just sounded horrible.
Even the Euphoria production, dude. I think even all of that stuff coming out as well. I would love to read that insider's expose that they will likely run on Variety or Hollywood Reporter after the season is done.
You think so? I think this show is too big for Hollywood Reporter to try and take an axe at it. I think unless Zendaya's PR team decides to start some shit up.
Yeah, the names are too big that everyone's just going to stay silent, right?
Yeah, I think everyone's just going to stay silent unless somebody inside decides to piss it off.
Let's talk the drama. This is the new movie by Christopher Borgley. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he directed Nicolas Cage in Dream Scenario, which was a fantastic film. The drama is very, very different. It stars Zendaya and Robert Pattinson about a couple who are about to get married, when a conversation over dinner reveals a deep, dark secret that causes Robert Pattinson's Charlie to spiral. I think, for the purposes of this discussion, we need to say what it is. The movie's been out 2 weeks now, and let's do spoilers. So if you haven't watched the drama, stop now, come back once you've seen it, because I think we can have a more fruitful discussion with spoilers. For starters, the big reveal, it's around a dinner table, and these four friends go, let's tell each other the worst thing we've ever done. And Zendaya's big reveal is that as a teenager, she was so depressed that she had planned a school shooting. She had a rifle, and she was about to go on a shooting spree in her school. She didn't do it. She decided against it for some reason, which we discover as the movie unfolds. But she had planned to do so. I think any rational person would not react the way the people in this movie did, because she didn't actually do anything. But all of the moralizing that happens among these characters makes it seem like she committed the worst crime ever and that she was secretly a psychopath just waiting to snap. And so that's where the movie kind of kicks off, and that is the conflict. And we watch these individuals around Zendaya's Emma spiral out of control and try to come to terms with what she has told them. I think it's actually very cleverly laid out, and the way the movie is paced and the revelations occur, very tight writing, very good performances from all the people involved. Alana Haim in particular is so hateable that you know this is good writing. But I think the movie, for me, falls apart right at the end. Like, it is a fantastic film, and I think we would have given it a much higher score if we felt that the director/writer didn't cop out at the end. It feels like he too didn't know what to do with the ending.
I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, I don't, only in the sense that I don't know what else I'd have done with that ending.
I would have had Zendaya dump his spineless ass.
Yeah,
Like, Robert Pattinson's Charlie was a walking red flag from the get-go.
Yeah, I guess, but then you don't have a happy ending, lah.
But this isn't that kind of movie, right? Like, even from the very get-go, as I was watching this film, I wasn't expecting a happy ending because it just didn't feel like a happy, happy, clappy, clappy love story.
What it is that Zendaya's character literally deserves better.
Exactly. She's the only rational person, and she's the one who planned the school shooting. But as a teenager, something changes her mind. She learns about the world. She allows the world to actually change her, which already means she isn't a psychopath. And yet, nobody in this film actually understands that, because they're all so fucking self-righteous and self-centered. They're all like, oh, you mean you didn't go to therapy? I'm like, no, she doesn't need therapy. She actually did it herself.
It's that stupid conversation of like, oh, you didn't go to therapy? No, I was a 15-year-old in the backwashes of Louisiana, maybe 10 years, 8 years prior to that conversation. Nobody went for therapy at that time. You know what I mean? Like,
not 15-year-olds anyway.
Yeah, in 2025, sure, therapy works, right? You can casually drop that, oh yeah, I'm going to therapy, and it'll be fine. At 15, you think you're just going to walk up to your dad and go like, hey, I think I need to go to therapy. No, just the fact that Rachel thinks that that is what should have happened tells me all I need to know about Rachel. Tells me that Rachel is a snowflake. She is a
performative.
That's the word I wanted to look for. It's all because this is what has been told to her, is how she should react when somebody tells you about anything about a school shooting.
When Zendaya confesses to this and Rachel just goes, my cousin is in a wheelchair because she was shot. I'm like, did I shoot your fucking cousin, bitch?
No, but it's also this thing of like, she keeps going like, I told you about Sam, my cousin who got shot and now cannot walk. It's like, sure, but one, I didn't shoot Sam. Two, I didn't shoot anybody.
Exactly.
The weird thing is the reaction of everybody around Zendaya's Emma is as if she said, you know what? School shootings aren't that bad. You know what I mean? Like, if that was the case, then sure, the response of everybody is completely on board. But she didn't. She said she thought about it. She said she was going to do it, but didn't do it.
But I think the way Christopher Bogley frames all of the characters, like the way he's framed Charlie, and the casting choice of Robert Pattinson, who is so good at playing wretched, but seeming like a nice guy, is fantastic. Like, that balance is perfect, even though everything he does from the first minute that you see him is kind of slimy.
Yes.
And yet, because it's Robert Pattinson, because he's got that stupid English accent, you're like, oh, he's so charming and cute. And like,
Yeah.
I like him, or do I? And you're constantly playing with that dichotomy. And I think that is absolutely brilliant. And for me, that's what makes it work, right? And I think there was also a very, very clever decision to make Zendaya who she is, because the way the character is drawn, she doesn't say much. She's not necessarily out there monologuing, trying to make her point. She plays it like someone who had a rough childhood, who was bullied, who was depressed, who has outgrown that because she became pretty when she grew up, and all of these other things, but yet that insecurity is still there, and she plays that so well. Like, the both of them carry this movie. And yet again, I think it is a really good movie. Like, as a thought experiment, it really works. But when we reach the ending, like, there's this massive showdown at the wedding where Robert Pattinson absolutely loses it, and it had me cringing so hard I thought I was going to fold into myself. All of that happens, and he essentially just embarrasses her in front of everyone. But then the ending feels like a cop-out rom-com happily ever after, let's give him another chance type thing. And for me, it just didn't feel true to what the movie was. Like, I felt Zendaya should have been, or should have come out of that going, you know what? Fuck these guys. Fuck Rachel. Fuck
Yeah.
Charlie.
Yeah.
All these assholes, I deserve better.
As I was watching it, I kept thinking to myself, just fucking drop Rachel. Just drop Rachel and her pussy fucking husband. Quick side tangent. I love the fact that this movie, with two very strong female characters in Zendaya's Emma Hardwood and Elena Haim's Rachel, have got the most spineless of husbands / boyfriends
Ever.
I think Mamadou Ati plays Mike, who is Elena Haim's husband, and is just like, I don't want to say it, but fuck, he's pussy whipped. No, hang on. I disagree. I don't think he's pussy whipped. Pussy whipped implies that you become that after you got married. Mamadou Ati plays it like he has always been that guy.
Yes.
The quote unquote nice guy, but is actually just cannot put his foot down on anything.
Ugh.
Now that we've spoken about it, I think I agree with you. I think the happy ending should have been Zendaya realizing that these three fuckers are toxic for my life. That Charlie will always be this sniveling, snotty-nosed English kid, and she needs a better man in her life.
The other thing, of course, is I didn't feel that reveal was all that dramatic. And I don't know if it has to do with the fact that a school shooting is almost an everyday part of American life, that I wasn't shocked.
I agree with you, which is what I think was the point. I think it was the overreaction of everybody at that table, which was the point. And I loved it. I loved the fact that the trailer never showed you why things got awkward. Because in my head, I was going to go like, maybe she murdered a guy. Maybe he, sold drugs, raped women. You would think you were out. I don't know about you,
right?
But I was fucking out there.
Same.
So when the reveal came, I was like, oh, Ninja.
You're right. Maybe that's the point.
Yeah, because
like, no crime was committed. Thought crime was committed.
Even a thought crime wasn't committed. She didn't kill people in her mind. She planned to kill people and then decided not. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's not like she was fantasizing about walking into an Apple store and letting loose with an AR-16. That's not what she did. She thought about killing people, never went through with it, right? And I think the marketing, the trailer did perfect because it sent us on this spiral. But when it was revealed to being this thing and everybody overreacts to it, you now immediately just go, wait, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
I mean, in that sense, the reveal was the perfect setup to take down the kind of characters who would react in that way.
I think this isn't so much a story about Zendaya's character who at 15 almost went ahead with the school shooting. I think it's the reaction of everybody around Zendaya's character reacting to her almost having gone through with the school shooting. And I think as a pitch, as a thought experiment, as a writing exercise, I thought that was fantastic. I think that's a great pitch.
Yeah.
I hated everybody else in this movie other than Zendaya. I hated everybody else. I hated that DJ that showed up. I hated everybody else.
I hated the DJ that got fired.
Everybody is a douchebag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished. I think that's what they were going for.
I don't know why this sticks in my craw so badly. There is a moment where Charlie attempts to have sex with Misha, which is his friend from work. He knows she has a boyfriend. She knows he is getting married. She's invited to the wedding. But in the course of that accidentally having sex, the one thing that sort of really stuck to me is that she actively tries to be in that situation.
She's a willing participant. It was purely consensual.
She turns around, she picks up her skirt for him to do his thing, but he cannot. But then later on, when it comes back, it was this whole thing of like, oh, nothing happened. It didn't mean anything. And it's one thing if Charlie does it. And I am expecting Charlie, as the English sniveling bastard, to say those things. But for Misha, who was a willing participant, for it to then just be Charlie's fault just seems...
Yes.
She gets off scot-free because I wouldn't say he forced himself onto her, but she was willing. She wanted to be there. Like in that moment, at no point does she say, oh my God, this was a bad idea.
No, because that was the whole point, right? Because later, even when her boyfriend confronts her, she clearly lies to him because he walks up to Charlie and says, did you sexually harass her?
Yes.
So the implication being that she wasn't a willing participant and that Charlie forced himself upon her. So I think that was the point as well, to kind of paint her in that light.
And again, I think this movie is showing us that Zendaya is the only person in all of its cast, is the only sane, healthy-minded one.
Yes. Agreed.
And I like that.
And of course, she is the one character that all the other characters are trying to paint as the villain of the piece.
Yes.
Because she once had a thought that wasn't particularly kosher.
Yeah.
Like they were judging her by her thoughts as opposed to her actions.
Yes.
It's a very, very clever movie. And I think I would have loved it a lot more if it had ended on a stronger note. Like, given how much I love Zendaya's character, I wish it had ended on a stronger note for her.
This isn't the ending that Emma Howard, Zendaya's character, deserves.
Correct. It's a rare thing to have in Malaysian cinemas. We think you should go check it out while it's still showing. I don't know for how long. But very little censorship as well, so you don't have to worry about that. The movie does feel pretty complete in its presentation. It is rated 18. But go check it out while you still can. It's still showing in Malaysian cinemas. Euphoria is on HBO Max. If you have invested enough time in the series and want to finish it, go right ahead. But we want to know what you think about both of these shows, as well as the new Star Wars trailer. You know how to reach out. We're on Instagram on GogglerMY. You can also email us on podcast@goggler.my or send us a WhatsApp on the Goggler hotline 012-524-5208. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Goggler Podcast.